What is good, family? This is your girl, Courtney Michelle. Welcome to the Courtney Michelle. So, I am so happy to have you guys here. As you saw in the thumbnail, this is all about HBCUs. Of course, you know this is very, very dear to my heart. As you can see, I am repping the school, Tennessee State University. I wanted to talk about HBCUs. If you didn't know, I was on a panel, shout out to Lapeef Let's Talk, and we had a lot to say about HBCUs. And for that small time that we talked about it, I definitely didn't feel like we gave it its justice. I think in this atmosphere that we're in, a lot of things that has been said about HBCUs, quite frankly, was absolutely wrong. So I want to talk about it, give you a little bit about my experience, other people's experience that went to HBCUs, and definitely want to get your comments, questions, and anything. You know how I rock on my show. So let me tell you a little bit about why I decided to attend an HBCU, particularly Tennessee State University. I never really thought about going to college as far as where I wanted to go. I just knew that I had to go. Mom said, girl, you getting out this house at 18. What school are you going to go to? She was a graduate of Tennessee State University. And I always remember going on that campus. And at 13, 14, 15, going to the campus of Tennessee State University and going to schools where it was all white folks. When I saw that school, it just empowered me in some kind of way. It was beautiful seeing all these Black folks going to school, dressed up, looking good, looked very smart. And I was completely impressed. And then I started watching, what was that show? A Different World, Whitley Gilbert. Oh, man. She was beautiful. She was poised, something that I never saw going to school. Again, I went to school with a whole lot of white women and boys, and no one looked like me. So when I saw her, and I was like, man, how beautiful and articulate she is. And I looked up to her. And then I saw a relationship with Dwayne Wade, and I was like, I got to give me one of them. Where am I finding that? Why not look into HBCUs? And so that started, I guess, my journey and my experience of going to an HBCU. It's being at a younger age, going to see it, and then seeing the representation of Black people going to college, looking amazing, being smart on TV. Unfortunately, I don't see that now. What represents us right now is Love and Hip Hop, the Cardi B's, the Tasha K's. So I don't necessarily see that. So on this particular platform, like I've always said, I want it to be that missing link. I want it to be something where we can show all different sides of Blackness, where we can show our problems with relationships, our problems with health, but yet also our successes. And me going to a historically Black college, I see success. And I want to make sure that this platform shows that. So whatever you done heard about HBCUs, especially with the people calling it subpar, we're about to hear some more stories. We're going to hear from the horse's mouth. So what I wanted to do, I gathered up a panel of some amazing people, and I am so excited to bring them up. So let's get this party started. I'm going to bring up first person up here. Hey, we got Janita, we got Clint. What is going on? And I want you guys to introduce I know you guys, but I want you to introduce who you are. I mean, obviously we see the Perry, but you can say what school you rep. And what do you guys do? Oh, look at these beautiful Black people. What's up? Go ahead, Gina. We'll start with you.
What's going on? Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Janita Pritchett. I am class of 05 from TTTSSSU.
Well, all right.
Seeing my fellow alum on here. I am currently working in all things STEM, standing for science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm the founder of STEAM Forward Academy, and our mission is to actually inspire youth to pursue science, technology, engineering, art, and math with confidence, curiosity, enthusiasm, and a genuine sense of belonging. I also work as a coach for those that are actually entering into STEM careers, and then also a consultant. And then in my, normal job, I'm also a DEI strategist, or diversity, equity, and inclusion strategist within the federal government. And that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you, lovely. And we'll go to Clint. I'm gonna save you last because, honey, your resume is extensive. Matter of fact, all your resume is extensive. Freddie B, let me go to you.
Yo, man, you got me following her, doctor. I don't have no prefixes on my name. That was legit. Made me feel good. Black woman dropping them gems. Well, you better let these people know.
Let them
Um,
know.
I am Freddie B. I'm a TV host. Currently, I'm on the Arena Championship Series East tour, hosting Monster Jams. If you love monster trucks, we're on tour until May. So, go to monsterjam.com. You can look up those dates and you can come out and see your boy Freddie B doing his thing. I'm a graduate of Tennessee State University. As one can see, '06, living in New York, moved to New York to chase my dream, and it's been going well. And I'm happy to be on this panel. Definitely shout out to Clint. Me and Clint, we got some. We got some. I had a show called Freddie B TV in school, so Clint actually took over a segment of my show. So
Wait
double
a
shout out to
minute.
Clint.
Can we bring the footage?
Good memories right there.
If that's what you got to ask Clint.
Yeah, we got to sign. I got to review those first. They got a little wild. So,
I will say Clint didn't get wild. Clint kept it. Clint kept it G. He was like, this big Clint, and I'm gonna take over Freddie B TV. And he introduced his line basically.
Okay. This is all right. We got Vail. What up?
What's going on, Court? How you doing? My name is Lavelle. I graduated from Tennessee State in '04. I actually practice medicine in Nashville now at Vanderbilt, radiology. Proud graduate. Happy to be here. I saw some of the clips. Court sent some of the clips from the prior show, so I definitely I had to come up from my dungeon. I'm normally a little bit ghost, but I had to come out to say, a few things. So I'm happy to be here. And, my frat, I see him on here as well. So much love to Clint and Freddie. Good to see you as well, bro.
Thank you. Sharika Marie.
Hey, my name is Sharika. I'm born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. I graduated from Tennessee State in 2004. I have a little 21 years of hospitality experience. I spent a good 14 years with the Hilton family, 4 years with Marriott and an independent as well. And post-COVID, I moved to the restaurant side, where I now work for the greatest company in the world, Slim and Huskies, as the project manager. And it's just really, really been a fun journey. And a big part of it actually has a lot of TSU roots from the very beginning. So I have a lot to say on this topic.
Yes. And last but not least, since we are talking about the good old Slim and Huskies, Clint, go ahead, brother.
What's up? It's Clint Gray, 1/3 of the Slimmer Huskies co-founder trio, fresh out of Tennessee State University class of 2007. I loved it so much that I came back and got my master's in 2011 from Tennessee State University as well. Like I said, proud owner of Slimmer Huskies. I'm the chief marketing officer, and just proud to be able to rep my HBCU every day, not only through my own endeavors, but through my company and everything that we represent.
Oh, well, thank you. And again, like I said, well, first, I don't think people know me as far as with what I do. They see me on the podcast, but I'm an account executive for an IT firm. So what I do, I am in the STEM field, and I build and I configure computers. So I don't think a lot of people know me for what I do, but I wanted to get this amazing panel together to represent what HBCU, what they are and what we produce. and we produce actors and doctors and business owners and entrepreneurship. And I just think it needs to be said. So I thank you all for joining. And let me ask you a couple of questions before I get into some stuff that I found a little uneasy in my spirit, and I wanted to see what you guys had to say. But I kind of started off with giving my reason or how I started, why I wanted to go to an HBCU. So what made it where you chose to go to an HBCU over a PWI? And for anyone that doesn't know what a PWI is that is watching, it's predominantly white institution.
I'll maybe kick it off a little bit. You know, I grew up with Tennessee State. I was probably conceived at Tennessee State. Okay, just saying. You know, and so I always grew up with TSU. My mom threw parties on campus. My dad was a DJ at Boyd Hall and all this stuff in the 70s. So I always grew up going to homecomings and being around campus. And I always knew I was going to go to college. I really thought I was going to go to Tennessee State, you know, but by the time I did get ready to go to school, I got a full ride. I think my experience is a lot different because I got a full ride also at UT Knoxville. And I was an engineering major, and I took that offer and I took the full ride to UT. And it was awful in my household. I mean, my parents were so livid, especially I was an engineer major, spent a lot of summers in summer engineering programs. But I went to UT, and I mean, I can go in that story a little later. I know other people have stories, but ultimately that was not the fit for me. And my parents ultimately said, you coming back home. You come back home because you're not doing nothing at UT. And I ended up at TSU, and it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I should have been there in the first place. So I actually just happened to come back to TSU.
You came on home, baby.
Came back home.
What about you, Freddie B?
Man, so I graduated high school at 16. And I got two twin brothers. And my mom was a single mom, you know, raising three boys. And my brothers are like a little bit under 2 years. They basically 2 years younger than me. So we got us all jammed together. My brothers weren't, they were the opposite of me in school. They didn't do good in school. So my mom had to really concentrate on them and keeping them in line in school and passing. They were just barely passing. So I kind of was just left to my own devices at, you know, going to my really going to my 11th grade year at 14, because, you know, that's really the year you start getting college action. I was 14 handling that, and then turned 15, and then 15 going in the senior year. I'm trying to handle it. And the crazy thing about it is my dad went to both my parents went to Morris Brown. My mom went to Tennessee State as well. And I went to Morris Brown homecoming. My dad is Omega. So, you know, I was on the yard, on the plots and doing all that. So I was familiar with it, but, you know, I was super young. When I got older, it just wasn't on the radar. So actually Tennessee State University was the only HBCU on my application, on my SAT, sending it out. So I got a scholarship to UT Knoxville, scholarship to Georgia Tech, scholarship to Vanderbilt, got accepted to Yale, Princeton, Cornell, and Dartmouth. And so I got all these acceptance letters, but I was just like lackadaisical about the whole college experience. I was like, okay, you know, it wasn't interesting to me. It didn't resonate with me. I didn't get it, you know, because like I said, I was just trying to play video games and go outside and play with my friends. That's what was important to me, not really college. I knew I was going to go. It was just, I was making straight A's. Okay, I'm going to college. It's another year. Mm-hmm. And so when all the money came in, I got, because Ivy League schools, they don't give full scholarships. You get like grants. So I was able to get like these different grants to cover the cost. But at TSU, I got a full academic ride, and I got a whole bunch of other like young student grants and a whole bunch of grants, to where the first year, that whole year, I got back $10,000, you know, on a refund check, split over 2 semesters. So my mom, she saw that, and she was just like,
let's go,
Brad, like, you don't need no debt, go to TSU. And then I was like, okay, I guess, because I was gonna go to Cornell. That was my choice. I was gonna go to Cornell in Ithaca, New York, upstate New York, nobody there. My mom was like, 16 years old, I'm not sending you there with all them white folks all by yourself, upstate New York. It's not happening. So then I was like, all right, well, I go to TSU. And then, but then the thing is I'm happy. I can tell people my story. People are like, why'd you choose TSU over Princeton, Dartmouth, Cornell, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, all these different places? But
I'm going to come back. That is important. because that is a talking point that I hear all the time. But yeah, so well, I want to know why.
Well, like I said, it was the money, but then like looking back on it, it's a situation where I'm glad I did because it insulated me, especially as a 16-year-old child. I still was a child. I was doing like childish. I almost got kicked out of school my freshman year, just not thinking and just being a child. I was 16 and I wasn't ready to by no means be on my own, even with my mom in the same city. So it was good. I went there and, you know, like I said, looking back on it, I mean, we can talk about that later. You know, I'm sure we get into that, what I learned.
Hey, Freddie B, that explains a lot, man. You was the only one on campus, man, with a whole production business. You know what I'm saying? and you took them funds, man, started that business off the rip.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. When I got to school, I started looking at my little printout. I was like, what is all this money they asking me to pay? And then what happened was when I started my show, the yearbook hit me up to buy my footage. And then I was like negotiating with all the deans in the school. And then that's when it like really hit me. I was like, yo, there's money to be made. It's time. It's go time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, go ahead. Clint, why don't you answer the question as far as why?
Man, I was exposed to Tennessee State early, a lot like Marie. My father was a recruiter for John Merritt, Coach John Merritt. Mm-hmm. So he, was out bringing some of those legendary players to Tennessee State, back in the day that we hear so much about. And so, and I grew up in a household with TSU memorabilia, all through it. My mom, she went to Fisk. And when it came time for me to go to school, I mean, I had got recruited to, several of the HBCUs to play football, took visits to Alabama A&M, Hampton, and had some other small offers from PWIs. But when it came down to it, it was my love for Tennessee State, just the culture that I saw as a kid. I used to sell hot dogs at the concession stands, in the whole. And then, I had an opportunity to actually spend some time on PWI campuses such as University of Memphis, UT. I was in Enrose in high school, and we took visits to those schools.
Shout out to Enrose.
We got some Enrose alum on here.
Yeah. Enrose.
Yeah.
Hey, I almost got put out of Enrose. My sister was an advisor, so she saved me. But because of those campus trips, we had too much fun on some of those campus trips, to those.
They don't do them no more, do they?
They were like, get those Enrose kids out of here. But yeah, man, like being on those campuses and like experiencing, the life of a PWI student, I compared that to like, being on Tennessee State's campus when my older sister was at TSU, and just, remembering like how much love and tradition was on the campus. Man, it was an easy decision for me when I, was able to get the scholarship to TSU, play football. It was one of those lifelong dreams, and it was an easy decision. I never wanted to stay in Nashville to go to college, but if I had to do it, Tennessee State was that reason.
Yeah, thank you, Janita.
So both of my parents are double HBCU alum. They met at Alabama A&M in physics class, ended up going to Howard for their master's in nuclear engineering. And for me, in our household, the idea of going to HBCU was just something that was talked about, it resonated, right? But then I also grew up in an area where I was one of 15 Black girls in my graduating class, in a class of almost 400. So I didn't see too many people that looked like me in my neighborhood growing up or in my school district. So I knew I wanted to go to HBCU. Quite honestly, I grew up in Pittsburgh. So Tennessee State initially was not even on my radar because, again, I'm in Pittsburgh. I knew the two that my parents went to, but wasn't too, fully ingrained in all that was out there. So I went on a college tour my senior year, and we went, down the East Coast essentially. And I came to Tennessee State on a Wednesday, y'all.
Done deal.
You are
on a Wednesday.
Fabulous Wednesdays.
Came on a Wednesday, and I mean, for those who have not been to Tennessee State, the campus is beautiful, just on any day. But on a Wednesday, the vibe is different. There's something in the air that people are kicking it. That courtyard is popping, and I was like, oh yeah, this home right here. And I had applied to a variety of schools, but Tennessee State ended up being the one that I knew that was home. They had a great. I knew I was going to do chemistry. They had a great chemistry department, so I was like, yeah, I'm good. And so that's ultimately how I ended up down in Nashville. And didn't know a soul when I moved down there, and ended up meeting so many great friends along the way.
Awesome. And last but not least, Lavelle.
Yeah, so I grew up in Nashville as well, and I think I would be a good person to listen to this as a high school person, because when I grew up in Nashville, I went to Brentwood Academy, which academy on the end of it, you can imagine it was one of those schools. There were no black women at that school when I went there. If you were black and you went there, you played sports. That's the only reason you were there, right? And I was a part of that. My older brother had gone there and played sports. I joke a lot of time. I'm the failure in my family. So my older brother played in the NFL. My younger brother played professional basketball, and then there's me. And my family, I'm the failure.
Hey, it's always one. You the jello of the family.
He's a failure being a doctor. Okay.
There you go, Freddie. But man, but I'll tell you, I was trying to follow in my brother's footsteps, right? Little brother. I wanted to be like him. He played at University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And I was playing football. I got scholarship offers, but I decided to take a scholarship offer, actually kind of similar to Sharika, at PWI at Rhodes College in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Rhodes College for 2 years. I ended up crossing down there, so it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. But I'll say I realized at some point I'm not big enough to play, professional football, so I transferred to TSU, and that was the smartest decision I ever made in my life, because when I was coming out, my college counselor never mentioned TSU to me as an option, ever. And truth told, I'll be honest, as it relates to we might get into this, but in terms of recruiting, I didn't get recruited by TSU. I definitely had the talent. I could have played there, but I didn't get recruited by TSU. At that time, they really didn't recruit at MBA or BA. Those were the big high schools. But nonetheless, I ended up transferring it to State. And the experience that I had was what I needed. It enriched my life. It gave me a sense of belonging that I had missed out on for years upon years. And so I got to a HBCU campus, and I didn't leave. After I went to Tennessee State, I went to Meharry and finished there. But I'll say, the one thing I'll say, Court, I did watch those prior shows, and what kind of fired me up is there was one guy that mentioned.
Slow your roll now.
Oh, my bad.
We won't get to it because I was showing. That's why you can't show people stuff in advance.
Court, listen, some of the things that he was mentioning, though, in terms of, and I'm not even gonna say white is right. It's like Ivy League is better. I've been there, and they're brick buildings. It's it.